She defied the might of Rome and built an empire in the desert until it all came crashing down. Who is Zenobia? Hey everyone, and welcome back to Jeremy Roman Empire. I'm your host, Jeremy Ryan Slate, and today we're diving into the incredible story of Zenobia, the warrior queen of Palmyra, who dared to challenge the Roman Empire at the height of its power in the 3rd century AD. Zenobia led a revolt that shook Rome to its core, carving out a vast empire from the sands of Syria to the Nile River. But who was she? What drove her to defy Rome? And how did her rebellion end? We're going to explore all of that with dates, names, and examples that bring this epic tale to life. Stick around because this story is packed with drama, betrayal, and lessons we can learn today. Let's go get it. First, let's set the stage. Palmyra, located in modern-day Syria, was a wealthy oasis city on the Silk Road trade hub, connecting Rome to Persia and beyond. By the 3rd century AD, Palmyra was semi-independent client state of Rome, known for its stunning architecture, like the Temple of Bel, built in 32 AD, and its multicultural blend of Roman, Greek, and Eastern cultures. But the Roman Empire itself was in chaos. This was the crisis of the 3rd century. From 235 to 284 AD, a period of near collapse. During these 50 years, Rome had 26 emperors, most were assassinated, and some ruled for just months. In 260 AD, Emperor Valerian led the army east to fight the Sassanid Persians under Shapur I. But at the Battle of Edessa, Shapur captured Valerian, the first Roman emperor to ever be taken prisoner. Ancient historians like Zosimus write that Shapur used Valerian as a footstool before having him flayed alive. This disaster left a power vacuum in the Roman East. Valerian's son, Gallienus, was too busy fighting off invasions in the west, like the Alemanni, crossing the Rhine in the 260 AD to secure the eastern provinces. Enter Palmyra's royal family. King Septimius Odaenathus stepped into the void in 261 AD. Odaenathus defeated Shapur's forces, reclaiming Roman territories like Antioch and Emesa, modern-day Homs. Gallienus was so grateful that he named Odaenathus Dux of Romanorum, or leader of the Romans in the east, a title that made him a sort of co-emperor. Odaenathus also took the title King of Kings, a direct jab at Shapur, and it was something Persians have used for a very long time. This dynasty is like a proto-Persian type of dynasty, claiming supremacy over Persia. In 267 AD, tragedy struck. Odaenathus was assassinated, likely by a relative named Maeonius, though some sources, like the historian Augusta, suggest it might have been a family conspiracy. Maeonius tried to seize power, but he didn't count on Odaenathus' widow, a woman of iron will named Zenobia. Zenobia, also known by her Arabic name, Al-Zabah, meaning the one with beautiful long hair, was born around 240 AD in Palmyra. She was the daughter of Julius Aurelius Zenobius, a prominent Palmyran military man. Zenobia married Odaenathus as a second wife, and they had a son, Septimius Odaenathus, born around 259 AD. Ancient sources describe Zenobia as a striking figure, beautiful, intelligent, and fearless. The Historia Augusta compares her to Cleopatra VII, the Egyptian queen who ruled from 51 to 30 BC, and even calls her a Syrian Dido, referencing the legendary founder of Carthage. When Odaenathus was killed in 267 AD, Zenobia acted swiftly. She crushed Maeonius' rebellion, executing him and securing the throne for her youngest son, Valerian, who was only 8 years old. Zenobia declared herself regent, ruling in his name. But she wasn't content to just hold Palmyra. Zenobia had bigger ambitions. She wanted to create an empire that rivaled Rome itself. Historian Edward Gibbon, in 1776 masterpiece, The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, describes Zenobia as perhaps the only female whose superior genius broke through the servile indolence imposed on her sex by the climate and manners of Asia. It's high praise and kind of also makes Gibbon sound like a bit of a jerk, but she lived up to it. Zenobia began expanding Palmyra's influence. In 269 AD, she sent her general, Zabdas, to invade Roman Arabia, capturing the city of Bostra, modern-day Basra in Syria. By 270 AD, she had taken control of Egypt, Rome's breadbasket, seizing Alexandria after a swift campaign. An inscription from August 271 AD, found in Palmyra, calls Zenobia Eusebes, meaning the pious, a title used by Roman empresses. Another inscription names her Sebaste, the Greek equivalent of Augusta, signaling her imperial ambitions. By mid-271 AD, Zenobia's empire stretched from Ankara to modern-day Ankara in Turkey, in central Anatolia to Upper Egypt, an area larger than modern France. She declared Val-Balathus emperor and herself empress, effectively ceding from Rome. Zenobia's empire wasn't just a military conquest, it was a cultural powerhouse. Palmyra became a center of learning, blending Greek and Roman and Eastern traditions. Zenobia was a patron of the arts and philosophy, hosting scholars like Longinus, a Greek philosopher who became her advisor. Longinus, born around 213 AD, had taught in Athens before joining Zenobia's court, and he likely influenced her policies. Zenobia also promoted religious tolerance, protecting Christians, Jews, and pagans alike. Palmyrene coins from 271 AD show Val-Balathus with the title Augustus. I'm going to get this name right yet, guys. And they also acknowledge the Roman emperor, showing Zenobia's careful balancing act, at least at first. Militarily, Zenobia was a force to be reckoned with. The ESBSCO research notes that she controlled key cities like Antioch, Bostra, and Alexandria with a single year, a remarkable achievement. She stationed garrisons across her empire, securing trade routes like the Via Trianova, a Roman road linking Bostra to the Red Sea. Zenobia also claimed a royal lineage, linking herself to the Seleucid and Ptolemaic dynasties, the Greek rulers of Syria and Egypt before Rome, and they were also what are called Diadokoi, or successor kingdoms of Alexander. A column in Palmyra dated to 271 AD, using the Seleucid calendar, year 582, shows she saw herself as heir to those ancient powers, rivals to Rome's dominance. But Zenobia's rebellion wasn't just about power, it was about independence. Palmyra had long been a semi-autonomous state caught between Rome and Persia. Zenobia wanted to break free from both, creating a third power in the east. Historian Harold Mattingly suggests that Emperor Claudius Gothicus, who ruled from 268 to 270 AD, and frankly would have put the empire back together if he didn't die, might have even made a formal agreement with Zenobia, recognizing her control in the east. But when Claudius died of plague in 270 AD, everything changed. A new emperor, Aurelian, also known as the Restitutor Orbum, or the Restorer of the World, came to power in 270, and he wasn't about to let a queen defy Rome. Well, I hope you guys have been able to survive my terrible pronunciation of Zenobia's son's name, but now let's get into the story of Aurelian and how this ties into the whole thing. Aurelian, known as the Restitutor Orbis, or Restorer of the World, was a no-nonsense emperor who determined to reunite the fractured empire. There was also a broken empire in the west called the Gallic Empire. We'll deal with it at a later time. In 271 AD, while Zenobia was expanding her realm, Aurelian was crushing the rebellion in the west, like the Gallic Empire, a breakaway state in Gaul and Britannia. By 272 AD, he turned his attention to Zenobia. Aurelian marched east with his legions, reclaiming Asia Minor. Ancient sources like Zosimus note that cities like Tyana resisted briefly but surrendered, clearing the path to Syria, Palmyra's heartland. At the same time, Aurelian sent a force to Egypt. By May 272 AD, Alexandria was back under Roman control, and by late June, all of Egypt was secured. Zenobia had withdrawn her armies from Egypt to focus on Syria, knowing that losing her homeland would mean the end. She made her stand at Antioch in early 272 AD, but Aurelian's forces defeated her army, led by Zabdas. To cover her retreat, Zenobia spread a rumor that Aurelian had been captured. Zabdas even paraded a look-alike through the streets of Antioch. A clever bit of propaganda, but it didn't stop Aurelian. Zenobia retreated to Emesa, where she faced Aurelian in a final battle in mid-272 AD. The Roman legions overwhelmed Palmyra's forces, despite Zenobia's leadership. She fled the east on a camel, hoping to seek aid from the Sasanians, but Roman cavalry captured her on the banks of the Euphrates River. Palmyra surrendered shortly after, and in 273 AD, after a second rebellion, Aurelian razed the city, destroying much of its grandeur. The Temple of Bel was damaged, though its ruins still stand today, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, until ISIS devastated it in 2015. Damn you, ISIS. What happened to Zenobia? The sources, they conflict. According to the Historia Augusta, she was brought to Rome in 273 AD and paraded in Aurelian's triumph, a grand parade where she was displayed in golden chains, a humiliating spectacle for a defeated queen. Zosimus claims that she blamed her advisors like Longinus, who was executed by Aurelian. Some say Zenobia died on the way to Rome, possibly by suicide or illness. Others, like the Byzantine historian John Malalas, writing in the 6th century, say Aurelian spared her and she lived out her days in a villa named near Tivoli, east of Rome, marrying a Roman senator. This, historically, I believe, is the most accurate story, by the way. I don't believe she was executed. I don't believe she died in the way. I believe she married a senator and lived at Tivoli. Her son, Valerian's fate is even less clear. Some sources say he was executed. Others say he vanished from history. Zenobia's revolt lasted just 3 years, from 270 to 273 AD, but her legacy endures. She was one of the few women in history to challenge Rome at its height, and her story has inspired countless retellings. The Warfare History Network notes that while male empire builders like Alexander the Great, who conquered Persia by 330 BC, get endless attention, women like Zenobia are often overlooked. Yet her achievements were staggering. She built an empire larger than many modern nations, defied 2 superpowers, and left a cultural mark on Palmyra that still resonates. Zenobia's history also shows the power of defiance. As a Medium article points out, she wasn't content to sit in the palace. She learned policies and military strategy from the best. Like her husband Odaenathus, her reign reminds us that even in the biggest empires, it's the boundary pushers who shape history. But her fall teaches us the limits of ambition. Zenobia's empire crumbled because she overreached. Taking on Rome and Persia at once was a gamble that failed. And it shows in history why 2 front wars have often failed. Look at Hitler in the Second World War. Her story also highlights the fragility of cultural heritage. Palmyra's ruins, once a symbol of her reign, were nearly destroyed by ISIS in 2015, a reminder of how history can be erased. As of May 24th, 2025, the date I'm recording this, efforts are underway to restore Palmyra to the UNESCO leading the charge. But Zenobia's spirit lives on in every story of resistance against impossible odds. That's it for today's deep dive into Zenobia's revolt, the queen who challenged Rome. I hope you didn't hate my pronunciations too much. Always doing our best over here. We've had phonetic spellings, we've done all sorts of different things, but sometimes I still butcher them. Apologies. So what do you think? Was Zenobia a hero for defying Rome, or did her ambition doom her? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button, smash the like button, and ring the notifications bell so you don't miss another new episode. I'd love to hear from you. What Roman story do you want to explore next? Maybe the fall of the Western Empire in 476 AD, or the mystery of the Ninth Legion, which we covered recently, so if you want to hear it again, great, but go back and check out the other video. Let me know in the comments or shoot me an email, jeremy@commandyourbrand. You can follow me on X. I am at Jeremy Ryan Slate for more history threads just like this. Until next time, this is Jeremy Roman Empire, and I'm Jeremy Ryan Slate. Keep building your empire.